So let's start by finding a comfortable place to sit on your mat. If you like to use a block or a pillow to sit on for this opening meditation, you can go right ahead. Just finding a place where you feel grounded and comfortable. Maybe even rocking from side to side on your sit bones, finding that center of gravity and balance. And then when you're ready, finding that centered spot, rolling your shoulders back and sitting up nice and tall. Letting your eyes close. And letting your attention come to your breathing. Noticing what shape your breath is taking today. Noticing if your inhales feel slow and deep, moving all the way into your belly. Or noticing if it feels a little bit more shallow today, making your chest rise. Noticing if your exhales feel fast, like a puff out into the room, or if they feel long and slow. Now, as we begin this yoga practice, let's let our breath begin to deepen. As you inhale, pulling that air deep into the belly, feeling your belly rise. And then exhaling slowly, letting the breath move back out into the room. Inhale through the nostrils, down the back of the throat, through the lungs into the diaphragm. Exhaling, feeling the breath deflating the belly, moving back through the chest, the throat and the nasal passages, back out into the room. Continuing to take these nice, long breaths. Knowing you can always come back to the breathing or to the seated position at any point in the practice if you feel like that's what you need today. Now as we begin to move, let's bring our attention to our shoulders, the tops and the sides and the backs of the shoulders, the space between the shoulder blades, all the way up to the base of the neck. This is an area of the body where I think a lot of us hold tension, so we're going to work on that area today. Let's start just by taking a few shoulder rolls, moving the shoulders up and back. And switching directions, moving the shoulders back, up and forward. And come Coming back to center, let's shrug the shoulders a few times. Inhale, bringing the shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, letting them drop down. Inhale, shoulders coming up. Exhale, dropping. Taking a few more rounds of that. On your next exhale, releasing the shoulders back down. Taking a breath here. And for our next pose, let's start just by giving ourselves a big hug. Feeling that space between the shoulder blades. If your fingers reach, you can even give yourself a little massage in the upper back. Then if this feels nice, you're welcome to stay right here. If you want to deepen the stretch in the back of the shoulders a little bit, we're going to lift both forearms up, keeping the arms crossed as they are. And start by bringing the backs of the hands to touch each other. And then if you want to go just a tiny bit deeper, wrapping the wrists around each other, finding eagle arms. The elbows squeeze together, the shoulder blades move apart. One more inhale here. And then exhale, letting the arms unravel, releasing. Maybe shaking your arms out a little bit. Now let's give ourselves another hug, this time with your opposite arm on top. Might feel a little bit strange to do it this way. Maybe giving yourself a little massage if your fingers reach. And then if you want to move into eagle arms, you can go ahead, start by standing the forearms up and bringing the backs of the hands to touch. And then maybe wrapping the wrists around each other. Squeezing the elbows together. Keeping the neck neutral. Remembering to breathe. Taking an inhale, and then exhale, releasing, shaking the arms out. Let's take a little side stretch, so bringing your right hand down to the mat beside you, bending the elbow a little bit, and reaching the left arm overhead. Think about moving the left shoulder away from the left ear. It can be really easy to let that shoulder creep up. Yeah, great, nice adjustments. Inhale, coming back to center, placing the left hand on the mat, bending the elbow a little bit, and reaching the right arm up and over the head. Again, thinking about moving that right shoulder away from the ear. Yeah, lovely. Creating space in that area of the body. Inhale, coming back up to center, and then walking your hands forward, taking a forward fold, letting the head and the neck drop down, releasing. Now walking the hands back up. Moving aside any props if you were using props. And let's move on to our hands and knees. Hands come under the shoulders with the elbows slightly bent, knees under the hips. Let's take a few cat-cows. Inhale, lifting the hips, bringing the shoulder blades together, looking forward. Exhale, rounding the spine, letting the head drop. Inhale, lifting the hips, gazing forward. Exhale, rounding and releasing. Continuing moving with your own breath. Inhale, looking forward, shoulder blades squeezing together. Exhale, spreading the shoulder blades apart, letting the head and the neck drop down. Finding your own rhythm here. Coming back to a neutral spine, extending the right leg out behind you, curling the right toes under so that the ball of your foot is on the mat. Just rocking backward and forward. I find this is really nice for my calf and hamstring muscles. Great. And then coming back to a place of stillness, we're going to lift that right leg up, coming straight out of the hip. And then maybe if you want more of a core challenge, lifting the left arm. Lovely. Staying strong with those core muscles, arm muscles. Holding just a couple more breaths. And then releasing, hand comes back to the mat, knee comes back down to the mat, taking a round of cat-cow just to release. And then coming back to neutral, we'll take the other side, extending the left leg behind you, curling the left toes under so the ball of your foot's on the mat. And just rocking. And then when you're ready, coming back to a steady central position, lifting the left leg straight up, and maybe lifting the right arm, engaging the core. Remembering to breathe, even though this is a bit more of a challenging pose. One more inhale, and then releasing the hand, releasing the leg, pressing straight back into a child's pose. Knees come as wide as the mat, feet together, sitting back on those heels, and walking your hand forward. Maybe your forehead rests on the mat. Maybe your head is hanging between the arms. Wherever you are, finding release. On your next inhale, making your way up to your hands and knees, but leaving your hands a little bit in front of your shoulders by a few inches. And then we're going to do a little push-up, or lower down rather, we're not going to push back up. So lowering all the way down onto your chest and belly. Sliding the arms forward, coming onto your forearms. Setting up for Sphinx pose. Start with your elbows right underneath your shoulders. If it feels like it's pinching your back, walking your hands forward a little bit until the pinching stops. Or if it feels nice, keeping the elbows in line with the shoulders. Wherever height you're at, spreading out all of your fingers, making sure that the tops of your feet are touching the ground. On your next exhale, pressing back up onto your hands and knees. Taking a round of cat-cow here to release the spine. We're going to come into puppy dog pose, which is a chest opener. So keeping your knees in line with your hips, even as we move into the pose as much as you can. They might shift a little bit. We're going to walk our hands forward until you feel a nice stretch. So your forehead might come all the way down onto the mat. It might hang between your arms. The important thing here is that the knees are in line with the hips as much as possible. And you feel a nice opener through the chest or between the shoulders. And on your next inhale, pressing through the hands to walk back up and making your way back to seated position. Extending your right leg out, bending your left leg in so that the left foot is up against the right inner thigh, or if that's uncomfortable, you can always just plant your left foot on the mat, And then we're going to bring our right forearm down to our right thigh and reach over with our left hand. If that feels good, stay right here. Or another option is to bring the left hand around your back behind you and reach for the right hip. So a little bit of a bind or half bind. And just open up the shoulder a little bit more. Looking up toward the ceiling or straight in front of you, whatever feels better for your neck. Great. Everyone looks good. On your next inhale, releasing the bind, coming back up to center, drawing the right leg in and maybe giving both of your legs a little squeeze. Now let's extend the left leg out, bending the right leg in, bringing the left forearm to your left thigh, and starting by reaching overhead with the right arm. Seeing how this feels in your body. And then if you like, you can take the half bind, reaching behind you for the left hip. Feeling the shoulder opening. On your next inhale, coming up back to center, drawing both knees into your chest, giving yourself a hug. And then when you're ready, letting your legs fall open, bringing the soles of the feet together, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to reach behind our backs and hold opposite elbows, giving those shoulders and the chest a little bit more of an opening. And now sitting up nice and tall. If you're feeling this in your shoulders and your hips, stay right here. If you do want to take a forward fold, you can do so now. I like the forward fold with holding my elbows behind me, but if that feels weird to you or you want to use your hands for balance, go right ahead. Now let's slowly roll all the way back up to seated, releasing the hands, bringing your hands under your knees to draw both legs in, giving them one last squeeze, and let's make our way down onto our backs. Keeping your feet planted on the mat for bridge pose. So you want to have your heels pretty close to your hips so that you can tickle your heels with your hands. We're going to move into bridge pose. So pressing through the feet, lifting the hips up, and then letting the spine roll off the mat. Lower, middle, and upper until you come to rest on your shoulders. Pressing through the feet, keeping the legs strong. One more inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rolling back down onto the mat, nice and slowly. Pulling both knees into your chest. Rocking a little bit from side to side. You're making the rocks a little bit bigger so that you almost lose balance on each side. And then the next time you get to the right side, letting yourself lose that balance, releasing the legs, rolling onto that right side, extending the arms out into a T position, and looking over the left shoulder. If that feels hard on your neck, just looking up at the ceiling. And your next inhale, bringing the head and the legs back to center, keeping the arms as they are. And then exhale, letting the legs fall over to the left side, looking over the right shoulder. On your next inhale, bringing everything back to center, squeezing those legs in. And then we're going to lift the legs up so that the feet point the ceiling and spread the legs open so the knees point toward the armpits. Reaching between your hands to hold the outsides of the feet. Taking just a quick happy baby. If there's another movement you feel like you'd rather take right now, you can do so. You can't reach the feet, you can always hold the ankles or the shins. Maybe rocking from side to side, maybe kicking the legs up. Or maybe just staying still for our last pose. And then when you're ready, let's move into Shavasana, extending the legs, extending the arms with the palms facing up. Letting the feet and the legs fall open. Letting the eyes close. Bringing your attention to that space between the shoulder blades, the top of the shoulders, the chest. Noticing how that part of the body feels right now. If it feels a bit lighter, looser, if it feels tight or stiff. Try not to judge how this area or any area of the body feels. Just being aware of the sensations and letting them be in your body for right now. Now starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees, rolling onto one side of the body, coming to rest on your shoulder. And then making your way up to a seated position, sitting up nice and tall for our final breath together. Bringing your hands into prayer, to your forehead for kind thoughts, to your mouth for kind words, and to your heart for kind feelings. Thank you so much for joining me today.